Behind the scenes, many people have spoken to me about how they feel something isn't quite right. Some of them have warned me not to do this, but I have to address it. The Big Bullshit Burglary by Greenroom. Timing. Viewers weren't interested in the USA trip. Streams were boring and dipping below 100 viewers. No big gifts were received, as expected, and Super Chat money was low compared to that total degenerate shithead, Tim Wright, who was taking over in viewers and in donations, as I had predicted. Something big needed to happen to draw donations and attention back. Excuse me. The story. The entire family were coincidentally away from the house when, in broad daylight, one or more burglars entered, trashed the studio, used a special machine to jack open the safe, and they got away with over $250,000 worth of luxury goods. It's estimated the process took between 3 and 6 hours. During this time, no neighbours, pedestrians, or anyone waiting at the bus stop directly in front of the house took any notice when this very loud and violent burglary was taking place. At no point did anyone call the police. The reaction. After arriving back in Brisbane, his immediate reaction was to privately contact the big donators who didn't gift him anything during the trip and ask them for money. Since then, streams have had a funeral-like atmosphere consisting of begging like I have never seen before. There was, however, a noticeable lack of anger in his demeanour when compared to bad situations that have happened to him in the past, which we'll get to later. When viewers were noticing more and more inconsistencies with the story, they started to question the legitimacy of the burglary. The stream suddenly got shorter, and he became more evasive of discussing details. Then, despite being triple vaccinated, he got COVID and immediately started a GoFundMe asking for $75,000. Some have speculated that it could be insurance fraud. Well, why would he need the money? Enormous amounts of debt. A brand new BMW payment, 2 mortgages, a furniture loan, multiple credit cards, rampant inflation, and general cost of living increases. Well, couldn't he just sell some of the watches? Over the past year, the secondary watch market has almost completely collapsed, and over half the watches in his collection were already hard to sell. We often see him transporting some of the watches back and forth to his safety deposit box in his bank. They are rarely all seen in the same place at the same time. But before leaving for the lengthy US trip, not one watch was placed in the safety deposit box. Not one. You look at how the white paint got everywhere and got on everything. Everything except the hard to replace and hard to insure book collection. And on top of that, you look at how being in the US would also serve as the perfect alibi to claim that you weren't involved. A 24/7 CCTV surveillance system consisting of multiple cameras had recently been installed throughout the property with the purpose of preventing and recording burglaries. He shows footage of every aspect of his life, everything except what the cameras captured. He never said the footage was unable to be retrieved. He never showed any anger that the burglars maneuvered around the cameras. He never handed the footage to the police, who would have posted it to their social media by now. I'm not sure the police have even been contacted, and from what I've watched, he never even mentioned the cameras. After I brutally assaulted him with that pillow in that hotel room, he was so angry he wanted to call the police and use the footage that Tim recorded as evidence against me. How many times did you see that footage of me? Compare that to how many times you saw the recorded footage of the burglary. You didn't see it once. Is there a reason we haven't seen what the cameras recorded? When he looked at the footage, did he see someone that he knew? Someone close to him? Someone that would make things difficult to sell as a random burglary? Someone that would make it harder to exploit and profit out of? And is he withholding the footage as leverage over those recorded? And finally, does he have a rich history of using anything as leverage over others? It's strange that burglars would go after a house with cameras to begin with. A house they seemingly knew the exact layout of. I'm a long-time viewer and I didn't know the safe was located where it was. But these random burglars did. They also knew the entire family wouldn't be there for the duration of the heist. They were careless enough to trash the place, but also tactful enough to maneuver around all the cameras. Don't pay attention to how I spelt maneuver. Again, no neighbours, pedestrians, or anyone waiting at the bus stop noticed a thing. You, the viewer, are expected to believe this. You really needed a visual to make it all seem genuine. If that room had not been trashed, would you have believed the story? If the watches mysteriously reappear about a month or two from now, will all the money donated be returned and refunded? The trashed studio did seem very personal. Typically, professional burglars that are capable of cracking safes and maneuvering around cameras want to be as fast and as quiet as possible. The most important part of the US trip was Vegas, which he spent almost entirely on the phone in his hotel room. Who is he talking with? And was he planning something with that person? My final thoughts. After leaving for a massive overseas trip, he realizes he's somehow forgotten to put his entire watch collection in his bank safe deposit box. He then gets extraordinarily unlucky. The entire collection gets stolen in broad daylight when the family just happened to be out and no one notices. This story and its perfect timing is just too hard for me to believe. If it was just one or two watches, it would be a lot more believable. It feels like there's a big piece of this puzzle missing. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that. I want to see the footage. I want to know what the police have said. And there's to be no more dodging of simple questions. Thank you for your time. If you're just tuning in, you may like to go back to the beginning. That's all I had. That's all I had planned for today. And thanks so much for tuning in. See you later.